Hey you, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Angela. I upload every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time talking about weight loss and bright line eating, which is a no sugar, no flour, helpful for people who have addictive brains type of program. I have tons of videos on that in the description box below. I'm going to point you to links that I have. I have a link for this book on Amazon. I'm going to talk about this book and how it helped me yesterday and why I think it will help you. I have the Bright Line Eating book. I have the Bright Line Eating cookbook. I also have Never Binge Again, which I'm going to talk about. Those are all in the description box below. Let's briefly talk about binge eating and if you have an addictable brain, which by the way, also in the description box below, there is the food freedom quiz, which you need to take. If you are a high person on the food susceptibility scale, I'm a 10 out of 10. That means you have an addictable brain and you are more likely to binge eat. So if you haven't followed my journey, let's say you're brand new here, I am down 55 pounds with Bright Line Eating, and I have been doing a ton of videos about it. I have a playlist in the description box below for all the video content. I have recipes, tips and tricks, explanations about the program. But this one is a very special video for me because as someone with an addictable brain, and I suspect you have one as well, or else you wouldn't be watching this, we are very prone to have desires to binge eat. And we have most likely binge eat, how do you say it, binge ate in the past. And I have to be fully transparent with you all that I binged this past week. I didn't yesterday, and I didn't, 2 or 3 days ago. But having an addictable brain is literally like living as a drug addict or an alcoholic. Like it's just one of those things where you get these feelings of powerlessness. You get the desire to binge, and then you feel completely powerless, like you have no control, and you just give into the desires. So I have lived through this, been yo-yo dieting my entire life, discovered Bright Line Eating, was wildly successful on it, and yet on Bright Line Eating, occasionally I have had the desires to binge and I would give in. So I want to talk about how to overcome that. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is the very brief summary of how you can overcome this feeling. And then I'm going to give you more resources. So this is the first resource I'm going to point you to. This is what helped me yesterday. This is a book written by Food Addicts Anonymous. I need to fix that in the description box. I put Overeaters Anonymous, but this is by Food Addicts Anonymous, which was founded in West Palm Beach, Florida, which is where I live, which is amazing. I want to read to you the passage from yesterday. These are daily meditations, and yesterday was March 7th, and I read the passage, and I swear God was like talking to me in my ear. This says, "Reasoning no longer works. My food addiction does not listen to reason. I have been willing to suffer obesity, emaciation, stomach pains, deterioration of health, marital strife, and familial and social alienation, all for the sake of consuming my addictive foods. I knew that the pleasure I attained from a binge was only a temporary illusion of escape from chronic physical, emotion, and spiritual pain. Binging did not give me real pleasure, it just numbed me out." That paragraph really got to me. When the impulse to binge struck, all rational thought evaporated within seconds. A rush of excitement would electrify me. I would be transported to a world where time was suspended and consequences were irrelevant compared with the incomparable pleasure that I anticipated with that first bite. I was helpless. I was powerless. But the pleasure of the first bite was indeed an illusion, and the excitement of anticipation quickly turned to humiliation and emotional paralysis. Binging was not worth the price I paid over and over. I finally learned that reasoning is useless against the force of addiction. Resistance creates pain, surrender alleviates it. For today, I ask God to keep me aware of the hopeless battle of binging. So I read that yesterday. And what got to me about that paragraph that really struck me was that whenever I would have the thoughts of going and binge eating, and I would just instantly give into it, the resistance and just whatever, whenever I would have those thoughts, I would be seeking a feeling that I thought binge eating would give me. I thought it would give me a feeling of happiness and joy and excitement and fun. I was seeking those feelings whenever I would want to go binge eat. And then I would go binge eat and I would never get those feelings. The way Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson puts it, she's the founder of Bright Light Eating, she puts it like, when you're addictively eating, when you are in the food and you are sinking into the binge, you are waiting for a feeling that never ever comes. So for someone like me, and I don't know how you are, but for someone like me on a scale of 1 to 10, I can't take one bite because the mantra that I tell myself is one bite is too much, 1,000 bites are never enough. So whenever I would tell myself to stay strong against a binge, I would just say, stay abstinent. Do not even take that one bite, because unfortunately, I suffer from the what the heck effect, where if I took one bite, I would just be like, what the heck? I took one bite, let me go eat the world. So I wanted to talk about this. And so in this description box below, I have this resource linked for you. I think it's $29.99, worth every penny. The next thing I want to talk to you about, another resource, is called the Never Binge Again book, and it's free. That book I highly recommend. I've talked about it in previous videos, but that book is what I read that gave me the strength to actually start Bright Line Eating. If you followed along on my journey on Bright Line Eating, you will know that I resisted starting Bright Line Eating for 3 years. I read the book 3 years. I read the book 3 times. I read the book and was like, it makes so much sense, but I just don't see how I could ever give up sugar and flour. That was my addictive brain talking. When I read Never Binge Again, I also read the book Brain Over Binge, which is good, but I feel like Never Binge Again is better. So go read Brain Over Binge if you want like a little extra, but the Never Binge Again book is like it's the cincher for me. It's the clincher. That book is free on Amazon, and I have it linked in the description box below. Never Binge Again was a transformative book that really taught me at all times you have the power. You think you are powerless. When you get the urge to binge, you feel like you will die unless you give in. You feel like there's no other option. But what that book, Never Binge Again, teaches you is that you always have the power. You always have the strength. It is within you. You can cage the pig, as Dr. Glenn Livingston, the founder of Never Binge Again, puts it. Cage the pig. You have the power. You have the strength. You can talk back to your addictive voice. And it's just a powerful, powerful book. Another book that I will tell you is The Path Made Clear by Oprah. I don't think this is necessarily like binge eating. I think this is just like a mental strength book. There was a passage I read in this book that was about like your personal Kilimanjaro, like your mountain to climb and your struggle, and change your perspective. Don't be like, oh no, woe is me. Why do I suffer from binging and addiction? Why can't I just eat like a normal person? Why do I have the desires to binge and I give in and I go binge and I struggle with my weight? Why? Don't look at it that way. This book told me,